Another video. This isn't my anything to do with Vlog Every Day in April. This is a homework project. If you would not mind watching this video, I'm going to be voicing for a video that is being signed that I'm watching. If you could just watch and let me know if I sound like I'm talking in normal English, if the message is being conveyed clearly and in an understandable way, and if I'm not using a terp voice, I'm going to call it, if I sound like I'm talking normally to an adult human. And I think that's all the things that I would need you to look for. You don't have to know anything about sign language. This is just I want to put this out to an audience that doesn't know anything or knows very little about sign language, so that they can help me know if I'm doing a good job of portraying this in English. This is going to be, with this 1-minute introduction, like an 8.5, 9-minute video. So ahead of time, I thank you for your patience in sitting through it and for any advice that you have to give me. Thank you very much, and without further ado, here is the video. Recently, there was this new outbreak of meningitis. And that happened because, there's a lot of people who will have back problems that will cause pain. Maybe like a disc is out of alignment and it's swollen up, and that will cause pain to shoot down their leg, and that kind of pain is called sciatica. And a lot of these people, it's very common for them to go to a clinic and get an injection in their spine. And the medicine that gets injected is called a steroid. And this is not the same kind of steroid as people who exercise all the time. This is a medicine that helps reduce inflammation. And it really is very beneficial to a lot of people. There's a man named William Blau, and he's a teacher of anesthesiology at the University of North Carolina School of Medicine. And he says it's very common for these shots to occur. He guesses about 1,000 to 3,000 people get them every day in the United States. This is a very popular type of medicine because it's much superior to oral medications like narcotics that you can get addicted to. With the shots, there's no addiction, and there are far fewer side effects. There might be a couple, but not as many. The reason there aren't as many problems that this medication causes is because it's an isolated application to just your spine. So problems don't show up all over your body because it's just applied in one area. You can take steroids orally as well, and that does cause problems that affect your entire body. You become sick more easily. You can't resist diseases. Your bones will become thin and break more easily, like if you have osteoporosis. But the shots help reduce the problems. And there was one place in Massachusetts. This company was called the New England Compounding Center. And they were a special store that made special orders of medication that were sent there especially. And they made the steroids for the back pain, and many clinics ordered them from there. And something there went horribly wrong. A fungus was in the medication, and it made people get really sick with fungal meningitis. And that company now, because it caused this outbreak, is closed down, and all the medication they ever made has been recalled. They did send that infected medicine out to about 23 states. And people aren't sure yet how the fungus got in the medicine. There are still people doing research to find that. In my personal research, I've found that the fungus that was in these steroids was called Aspergillus. And that is a super common fungus. You can find it all over the place. Dead leaves or trees in the woods, in rocks, in the dirt, even in your house, in your walls, in the air vents, inside new buildings even. they're inside the building materials. It's really common inside, outside your house. It's everywhere. And a few people will get sick with this. Maybe out of 1 million people, 10 or 20 will get sick from Aspergillus every year. It's very rare. And I mean, like, if you get a cut and the fungus goes inside it, of course that's going to potentially become infected. But most of the time, if you inhale it, your body can resist it and reject the fungal spores. But perhaps if you're someone who already has an existing illness, like cystic fibrosis or asthma or other lung problems, inhaling this fungus will cause you to cough and have trouble breathing. Or maybe if you have HIV or had just had an organ transplant, or you have cancer and are receiving chemotherapy and your immune system is weakened for some reason, you'll become sick more easily. You can get a fever, chest pain, and trouble breathing from that. But the reason that the shots cause the meningitis is because it's injected directly into the spine, which allows the fungus to grow up your spinal cord and cause an infection in your brain. And that can even cause a stroke. And last time I checked, Friday, October 5th, 7 states had been affected. 47 people had become ill and 5 people had passed away. And this has affected Tennessee the worst, but it's also affected Virginia, Maryland, Florida, and most recently Michigan, as well as North Carolina and some other states. Most recently Michigan, and it's possible that more people will be affected by this illness because they're not sure where all the medicine has gone. And you can go to cdc.gov and look what clinics had this infected medication, and you can see for yourself if you went to one of these clinics and got the shots, you can go and get this illness detected early. And one of the reasons that this illness is so bad is because the symptoms don't start to show up until 1 to 4 weeks after you've had the injection. Perhaps you'll get a fever, a horrible headache, one of the worst you've ever had, nausea, a stiff neck, and you won't be able to stand the light. And some symptoms of a stroke, for if you're a hearing person, your talking will begin to sound slurred and funny. For deaf people, we don't talk, so you have to focus more on perhaps one half of your body will become weak and limp. And there's a man, his name is Anders Cohen, and he's the head of neurosurgery at Brooklyn Hospital near New York. And he sent out information saying that if you have back pain, you should wait until the CDC has approved steroid shots once again. And maybe for a while until they're approved, you can supplement with oral pain medications to help reduce your pain. Part of the reason this happened is because there are 2 different kinds of factories that make medication. There are the normal factories that make everyday prescription drugs, and sometimes they get full, and so special orders are sent to compounding centers like the company in Massachusetts. And they'll make special orders of medicine or when the normal factories are full. And these more popular factories that make manufacturing places that make these medicines, they have super strict rules governing how they run. The compounding centers have less governance over them and the rules are much less strict. Wow, I never knew, it never even occurred to me that medicine could cause such a horrible illness to break out. Okay, that is the end of my interpretation. Once again, I thank you for your patience in watching what is an almost 10-minute video, and I thank you for your feedback. Have a good night.